There is great power in words, but there is even greater power in silence. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the discipline to know when to speak and when to hold your tongue. Today I want to talk about the transformative strength of being silent in certain situations, a strength that can save relationships, prevent regrets, and even open doors to greater understanding. First, be silent when you are angry. In the heat of anger, words become weapons. They cut, they wound, and they leave scars that often outlast a moment. When emotions flare, pause. Take a breath. Silence allows you to regain control over yourself so that your words can build bridges instead of walls. Second, be silent when you don't have all the facts. Speaking without knowledge can lead to assumptions and misunderstandings. Have you ever judged someone based on incomplete information only to discover later that you were wrong? Silence in these moments reflects humility and respect for the truth. It shows wisdom in waiting for clarity. Third, be silent in the face of foolishness. Not every argument needs your input, and not every critic deserves your response. When you engage with negativity or ignorance, you risk being dragged into it. Silence in these moments is not surrender, it is strength. It is choosing peace over pointless conflict. Fourth, be silent when someone is grieving or in pain. Words often fail in the face of deep sorrow. In such moments, your presence speaks louder than anything you could say. A silent embrace, a gentle hand on the shoulder, or simply being there can offer more comfort than 1,000 words. When anger takes hold, it has a way of clouding judgment, pushing us to say things we might not mean, and leading to outcomes we later regret. Anger is a natural human emotion, but what we do with it determines whether it becomes a force for destruction or an opportunity for growth. In moments of intense anger, silence is a shield, a way to protect ourselves and others from the unintended consequences of our unchecked emotions. Speaking in anger often feels justified in the heat of the moment. You may believe that releasing those words will make you feel better, that expressing your rage will bring clarity or resolution. But too often, angry words are like sparks in a dry forest. They ignite fires that can spread uncontrollably, leaving devastation in their wake. Think of the relationships that have been strained, the trust that has been broken, and the apologies that have had to be made, all because words were spoken without care or forethought. Silence, on the other hand, acts as a barrier, preventing those sparks from becoming flames. When you feel anger rising, take a moment to pause and reflect. This pause is not about suppressing your emotions, but about giving yourself the time and space to process them. Anger often stems from deeper feelings, hurt, disappointment, fear, and silence allows you to explore these emotions without lashing out. In that quiet space, you can ask yourself important questions. What is the root of my anger? Is what I want to say helpful or hurtful? Will my words bring resolution or create further conflict? These moments of introspection help you to respond intentionally rather than reacting impulsively. Silence also allows the other person involved to reflect. In a heated exchange, words tend to escalate the situation, with each party trying to outdo the other in proving their point. But when you choose silence, you disrupt this cycle. It forces the other person to pause as well, creating an opening for the escalation and mutual understanding. In many cases, the simple act of withholding words can diffuse tension and create a pathway toward productive conversation. Another key benefit of silence and anger is the preservation of dignity, yours and the other person's. Words spoken in anger can cut deeply, often targeting vulnerabilities and striking at the heart of someone's self-esteem. These wounds, though invisible, can linger long after the argument is over. By staying silent, you avoid inflicting harm that might take years to repair, if it can be repaired at all. Silence demonstrates self-control, and self-control earns respect even in difficult moments. Moreover, silence does not mean passivity or avoidance. It is an active choice, a deliberate effort to prioritize peace over chaos. It is a recognition that not every situation requires an immediate verbal response, and not every battle is worth fighting. When the time is right, you can express your feelings with clarity and composure, ensuring that your message is heard without being clouded by anger. This approach not only strengthens relationships, but also reinforces your ability to navigate conflicts with grace and wisdom. In a world where we are often encouraged to speak our minds without restraint, the discipline of silence is a rare and powerful skill. It allows us to rise above the moment, to act with intention rather than reaction, and to communicate in ways that heal rather than harm. Choosing silence and anger is not about weakness or suppression. It is about strength and self-mastery. It is about valuing relationships and understanding that words once spoken cannot be taken back. The next time anger threatens to take control, remember that silence is a choice to pause, to reflect, and to respond with wisdom. It is a choice that protects, preserves, and ultimately strengthens both yourself and those around you. Speaking without knowledge is one of the most common sources of misunderstanding and conflict. It's easy to form an opinion or jump to conclusions based on incomplete information. Yet doing so can lead to errors in judgment that harm relationships, damage reputations, and create unnecessary confusion. Silence in these moments is not just wise, it is essential. It reflects humility, patience, and a respect for the truth. In today's fast-paced world where we are constantly bombarded with information, the temptation to speak up before understanding the full picture is stronger than ever. Social media, quick conversations, and surface-level observations can give us fragments of a story, but rarely the entire context. When we rush to express opinions based on this limited perspective, we risk spreading misinformation or making assumptions that are far from reality. Silence, in contrast, is a deliberate decision to wait, to observe, to listen, and to seek clarity before forming conclusions. Imagine encountering a situation where you hear one side of a story. Perhaps a friend confides in you about a disagreement, or you overhear a snippet of a conversation that seems to suggest wrongdoing. Without knowing all the facts, it's easy to take a stance or react emotionally. But what if there's more to the story? What if the other side reveals details that change your understanding entirely? Speaking too soon in such cases can lead to taking actions or making judgments that are not only premature but potentially harmful. Silence allows you to resist this urge and approach the situation with an open mind. Silence in moments of uncertainty also demonstrates respect for the complexity of truth. Life is rarely black and white. Most situations involve layers of nuance and context that are not immediately apparent. By staying silent until you have all the facts, you show a willingness to acknowledge this complexity. This approach not only helps you avoid misunderstandings, but also fosters trust. People are more likely to respect someone who listens carefully and speaks thoughtfully rather than someone who rushes to conclusions. Moreover, silence in the absence of full knowledge protects your credibility. When you speak on matters you don't fully understand, you risk exposing gaps in your knowledge or making statements that may later be proven false. This can harm your reputation and make others less likely to take you seriously in the future. On the other hand, when you choose to remain silent until you are informed, your words carry more weight. They reflect thoughtfulness, discernment, and reliability, qualities that enhance your influence and authority. Another important aspect of the silence is its role in fostering better communication. When you refrain from speaking prematurely, you create space for others to share their perspectives. This not only enriches your understanding, but also helps others feel heard and valued. Listening actively and asking thoughtful questions can reveal insights that might otherwise be missed. It shifts the focus from reacting to understanding, paving the way for deeper connections and more meaningful interactions. Choosing silence when you lack knowledge is also a way of protecting relationships. Misunderstandings and misjudgments can strain even the strongest bonds. Speaking without full understanding can lead to accusations, defensiveness, and conflict. By waiting until you have all the facts, you demonstrate respect for the other person's perspective and a commitment to resolving issues constructively. This patience can prevent unnecessary tension and help build trust and mutual respect over time. Lastly, silence in these moments is an act of humility. It acknowledges that no one has all the answers and that seeking truth is more important than being right. This humility opens the door to growth, learning, and deeper wisdom. It allows you to approach life with curiosity and a willingness to adapt as new information comes to light. In a world where quick responses are often valued more than thoughtful ones, choosing silence until you have all the facts is a powerful act of self-discipline and integrity. It allows you to honor truth, protect relationships, and build a reputation for wisdom and reliability. Let your silence be a mark of your respect for the complexity of life and your commitment to understanding before being understood. Engaging with foolishness often feels like an attempt to defend your perspective, prove a point, or assert the truth. Yet in many cases, it is a fruitless endeavor that drains energy and leads nowhere. When faced with ignorance, baseless arguments, or negativity, silence is often the most powerful response. It demonstrates wisdom, strength, and a refusal to be drawn into pointless conflict. Foolishness can take many forms: arguments based on misinformation, debates fueled by ego rather than substance, or negativity aimed at provoking a reaction. The temptation to respond, to correct, or to argue is natural. After all, we want to believe that logic and reason will prevail. But more often than not, engaging with foolishness does not resolve the situation, it amplifies it. Responding to ignorance often gives it more attention and energy than it deserves, legitimizing it in ways that silence does not. Choosing silence is not about admitting defeat or surrendering your principles. On the contrary, it is a deliberate choice to rise above the noise. It is a recognition that some battles are not worth fighting and that not all voices deserve a response. When you engage with foolishness, you risk being drawn into its chaos. Arguments that start with good intentions can quickly devolve into personal attacks, misinterpretations, and escalating tension. By remaining silent, you refuse to give such interactions power over your peace of mind. Silence in the face of foolishness is also a statement of confidence and self-control. It shows that you do not feel the need to prove yourself to everyone or justify your beliefs in every situation. Confidence is not about having the loudest voice in the room. It is about knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. By remaining silent, you send a clear message. You are secure enough in your understanding that you do not need the approval or agreement of others to validate your perspective. Another benefit of silence is that it creates space for reflection and observation. Foolishness often reveals itself over time. And by stepping back, you give others the opportunity to recognize it for what it is. Sometimes the most powerful way to counter a baseless argument is not to challenge it directly, but to let it unravel on its own. Silence exposes the lack of substance behind foolishness, allowing it to collapse under its own weight. In addition, silence helps preserve relationships and maintain respect, even when you disagree. Engaging in heated arguments over trivial or misguided topics can damage connections and breed resentment. By choosing silence, you show respect for the other person, even if you do not agree with their viewpoint. This approach can prevent unnecessary conflict and keep the door open for future, more meaningful conversations. It's also important to recognize that not everyone is ready or willing to engage in constructive dialogue. Some people argue not to seek truth or understanding, but to provoke, assert dominance, or fuel their own ego. In such cases, responding only feeds their agenda. Silence, on the other hand, denies them the reaction they seek and reinforces your commitment to peace and self-respect. Moreover, silence in the face of foolishness is a form of self-preservation. It allows you to conserve your energy for battles that truly matter, issues of principle, justice, or meaningful change. Wasting time and energy on petty arguments distracts you from focusing on what is truly important. By choosing silence, you protect your emotional well-being and prioritize your values over momentary satisfaction. Choosing silence does not mean you ignore all challenges or avoid standing up for what is right. Instead, it means exercising discernment. It means recognizing when speaking up will make a difference and when it will not. Silence is not passive. It is an active choice to remain centered, to rise above the fray, and to prioritize wisdom over impulsiveness. In moments when foolishness demands your attention, remember that silence is often the most powerful response. It preserves your peace, demonstrates your strength, and ensures that your energy is directed toward what truly matters. By mastering the art of silence in these situations, you gain not only control over your reactions, but also a deeper sense of inner calm and purpose. In moments of grief or pain, words often fall short. When someone is experiencing deep sorrow, loss, or hardship, our instinct is to offer comfort through language. We want to say something to ease their burden or make them feel better. However, more often than not, what people in pain need most is not words but presence. Silence in these situations can be more powerful and healing than anything you could say. Grief is deeply personal, and no two people experience it the same way. What might seem comforting or appropriate to you may not resonate with someone who is mourning. Words, even when well-intentioned, can sometimes come across as dismissive, minimizing, or even unintentionally hurtful. For example, phrases like "everything happens for a reason" or "they're in a better place now" might be meant to console, but they can feel empty or dismissive to someone in the depths of their pain. Silence, however, avoids these pitfalls. It creates a space for the grieving person to feel their emotions fully without the pressure of responding to or interpreting your words. Being silent does not mean being absent. On the contrary, it means being fully present. Sitting quietly with someone who is grieving sends a powerful message. I am here for you. This presence speaks volumes. It says that you recognize their pain, that you respect their process, and that you are willing to simply be there without trying to fix or explain away their emotions. Often, this silent companionship is far more meaningful than any words could ever be. Silence also allows the grieving person to take the lead in expressing their feelings. Grief is complex and multifaceted. It can involve sadness, anger, confusion, guilt, and even moments of unexpected joy. When we fill the air with our own words, we risk overshadowing the need to share what they are feeling. Silence, on the other hand, creates a safe and open space for them to speak if they choose to. It gives them permission to process their emotions in their own time and in their own way, without the intrusion of someone else's narrative. Moreover, silence honors the gravity of loss. In a world that often rushes to move past discomfort, Silence is a way of acknowledging the depth of someone's pain. It communicates that you understand the significance of their loss and that you are willing to sit with them in that difficult space. This act of solidarity can be profoundly comforting, as it shows that their grief is not something to be fixed or avoided, but something to be acknowledged and respected. For those offering support, silence can also be a way of managing their own discomfort. It's natural to feel uneasy in the presence of someone else's pain. The urge to speak often comes from a desire to fill the silence and ease our own feelings of helplessness. But true compassion involves setting aside our own discomfort to focus entirely on the needs of the grieving person. By choosing silence, we resist the temptation to prioritize our need to do something over their needs simply to feel supported. Another critical aspect of silence is that it allows for nonverbal forms of comfort. A hug, a hand on the shoulder, or even sitting close by can convey more empathy and understanding than any words could. These small gestures of connection remind the grieving person that they are not alone, that someone cares deeply for them, that they are valued and supported. In situations of grief or pain, silence can also foster a deeper spiritual or emotional connection. Without the distractions of words, both you and the grieving person can share a moment of profound presence. This shared silence can feel sacred, offering a sense of peace and unity that transcends language. Ultimately, silence in the face of grief or pain is an act of profound respect and love. It acknowledges the enormity of someone's loss without trying to diminish it. It offers the gift of presence without imposing expectations. And it creates a space where healing can begin, not through words, but through understanding and connection. So when you encounter someone who is grieving, remember you don't need to have the perfect words. Your silence, your presence, and your willingness to simply be there are enough. In the quiet, you give them the greatest gift of all, the reassurance that they are not alone. Words are incredibly powerful. They have the ability to build up or tear down, to create or destroy. In moments when your words carry the potential to harm, the wisest choice is often silence. It can be difficult to hold back, especially when emotions are running high. But silence is a reflection of strength and self-control. Choosing to remain silent when your words could cause destruction demonstrates maturity, empathy, and a commitment to protecting what truly matters: relationships, trust, and integrity. Destructive words can take many forms. They might arise in moments of anger, manifesting as insults or harsh criticisms that attack someone's character or self-esteem. They might come in the form of gossip, spreading information that damages reputations and sows distrust. Or they could be careless remarks said without thought that unintentionally hurt others. In all these cases, the harm caused by such words often far outweighs any momentary relief or satisfaction you might feel in expressing them. When you choose silence, you are not suppressing your feelings or avoiding confrontation. You are exercising restraint and giving yourself the space to think critically about what you are about to say. This pause allows you to reflect on the potential consequences of your words. Will they contribute to understanding and resolution, or will they deepen the divide? Will they uplift or tear down? Asking yourself these questions in the moment is crucial, and silence provides the time and clarity to do so. Choosing silence also helps you avoid saying things you cannot take back. Words once spoken are permanent. Apologies can be made and forgiveness can be sought. But the impact of hurtful words can linger. They can leave scars that take years to heal, if they heal at all. Silence, on the other hand, prevents these wounds from being inflicted in the first place. It shows a commitment to minimizing harm even when emotions run high. Another important aspect of silence is its ability to preserve relationships. In the heat of a moment, it can be tempting to lash out, to say something sharp or cutting in an attempt to win an argument or assert your position. But what is often gained in the short term, a sense of satisfaction or a feeling of having the last word, can come at the expense of long-term trust and respect. Words that are spoken in haste can undermine the foundation of a relationship, creating rifts that are difficult to repair. Silence, by contrast, demonstrates respect for the other person and for the relationship itself. It says, I value this connection too much to risk it with careless words. Gossip, in particular, is a form of destructive speech that silence can effectively combat. Spreading rumors or sharing information that isn't yours to share might seem harmless in the moment, but it can have far-reaching consequences. Gossip damages reputations, erodes trust, and creates an atmosphere of negativity. By choosing not to participate in gossip, you take a stand for integrity and respect. Your silence sends a clear message. You are someone who values truth and discretion over idle chatter. Silence in potentially destructive moments is also a sign of emotional intelligence. It shows that you are aware of your own emotions and capable of managing them effectively. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond thoughtfully, ensuring that your actions align with your values. This level of self-awareness and self-regulation is not only beneficial for your relationships, but also for your own peace of mind. In some cases, silence can even be a form of protection. It shields you from saying something that could be used against you later or that could escalate a situation unnecessarily. It allows you to maintain your dignity and composure even in challenging circumstances. Ultimately, choosing silence when your words could destroy is an act of kindness toward yourself and others. It is a recognition of the power of language and a commitment to using that power responsibly. By holding your tongue, you create space for understanding, healing, and growth. You prevent harm and preserve what is most important. So the next time you find yourself on the verge of speaking words that could cause damage, pause, reflect, choose silence. In that silence lies strength, wisdom, and the opportunity to build rather than destroy. Wisdom is often revealed not in what we say, but in what we choose not to say. Silence, when used intentionally, can be a powerful indicator of maturity, thoughtfulness, and discernment. It takes courage and strength to recognize when silence is more effective than speaking, and mastering this ability is a hallmark of wisdom. In a world that often equates noise with importance, the discipline of silence can set you apart as someone who values substance over superficiality. Choosing silence is not about passivity or weakness. It is about understanding that words have weight and that they should be used with care. Every time we speak, we shape perceptions, influence emotions, and contribute to the world around us. By choosing to remain silent at the right moments, you demonstrate an awareness of this responsibility and a commitment to ensuring that your words, when spoken, carry value. Silence allows you to think before you speak, ensuring that your words are intentional and meaningful. In our fast-paced lives, the pressure to respond quickly can often lead to saying things we later regret. A pause, a moment of silence, can provide the clarity needed to formulate a thoughtful and appropriate response. This practice not only enhances the quality of communication, but also reinforces your reputation as someone who speaks with purpose and precision. One of the most profound benefits of silence is its ability to foster understanding and connection. When you choose to listen instead of speaking, you open yourself up to the perspectives and experiences of others. Listening actively, without the need to interject or dominate the conversation, shows respect and genuine interest. It creates a space where people feel valued and heard, which is essential for building trust and deepening relationships. Silence is also a tool for reflection and self-awareness. In the quiet moments, you have the opportunity to examine your thoughts, emotions, and motivations. This introspection can lead to greater insight into yourself and the situations you face. It allows you to respond to challenges with clarity and confidence rather than reacting impulsively. Silence gives you the power to assess not only what is happening around you, but also how you want to engage with it. Moreover, silence can serve as a powerful form of communication itself. Sometimes what you don't say speaks louder than what you do. For example, in moments of conflict or disagreement, silence can convey disapproval without escalating the situation. It can signal that you are choosing to rise above pettiness or negativity, reinforcing your integrity and self-control. Silence can also communicate patience, empathy, and understanding, particularly when someone is expressing their feelings or sharing a difficult experience. Silence also protects your energy and peace of mind. Not every situation requires your input, and not every argument is worth engaging in. By choosing silence, you conserve your mental and emotional resources for the things that truly matter. It is an act of self-care, a way of maintaining balance and focus in a world that often demands more than it gives. Finally, silence is a sign of humility. It acknowledges that you don't have all the answers and that sometimes the best course of action is to step back and let events unfold. This humility creates space for learning and growth. It allows you to approach life with curiosity and openness, embracing the idea that there is always more to understand and discover. In a culture that often equates speaking with power and silence with weakness, the ability to choose silence demonstrates true strength. It shows that you are confident enough to let your actions, observations, and presence speak for themselves. By mastering the art of silence, you gain not only greater control over your words, but also a deeper sense of wisdom, purpose, and connection.